I'm at the gate. You shouldn't be in there. Come on out. As an outreach coordinator for troubled teens, Abigail was basically charged with taking care of those who came into her office. However, her past had been rough enough to compel her to respond to the girls' summons and venture out tonight. That was one of the reasons she was so successful. She was able to personally identify with the street kids she was trying to aid. And this one sure sounded as if she was in trouble. "Kira! Come out! Help me!" There it was again. A plea that Abigail could not ignore. She'd have to trespass herself in order to set the girl straight about respecting the law. Checking to make sure the officer and his dog were far enough away to keep from spooking the girl, Abigail sidled through the gate. Although she could have enlisted his aid, she didn't want to give Kira the mistaken notion that she had broken her promise and called the police. Lingering odors of popcorn and other food would have been a lot more pleasant fresh. "Kira? Come on, honey. We shouldn't be in here. Let's go back to the boardwalk." Pausing, Abigail listened. Thunder rumbled, wind whistled. Paper trash that the cleaning crews had missed tumbled along the ground and began to pile up against the fences and bases of the silent rides. Abigail couldn't help feeling edgy. She, who took pains to never break the law, was currently doing so. Yes, she had a good reason, but that didn't mean it was legal. She looked heavenward briefly and prayed. "Please, Father, show me what to do now." A noise to the far left startled her. She froze, straining to listen and peering into the shadows. Lightning flashed. In that instant, she did see a person. 2 people, to be exact, and they were men. Imposing men. Neither of them looked a bit like the slim young girl she was seeking. Then the men stepped apart, and a third figure appeared between them. This person did resemble Kira and seemed to be struggling to break away. Of all the situations Abigail had faced in her troubled past, this was the kind she'd most feared, the scenario that had given her untold nightmares. Despite being unarmed and alone, she knew she had to do something. What? How could she possibly rescue Kira, or whoever the smaller person was, without weapons? Fear urged flight. Duty insisted she act. Good sense demanded both. How long had it been since she'd seen the police officer and his dog? Maybe she could return to the gate and call him back to rescue the captive. But first, she had to distract the kidnappers, slow them down. Ducking behind a post, she took full advantage of the deep shadows, cupped her hands around her mouth, and yelled, "Let her go!" It worked so well she almost cheered. The men froze and stared in the direction of her voice. As she pivoted to make a dash for the gate, lightning illuminated the area around her like the noon sun. Someone shouted, "There she is! Get her!" Oh no! Abigail's heart leaped. She stumbled and almost went to her knees trying to get a running start. Her pulse was pounding. Her body felt numb, as if it belonged to a stranger. She gasped, nearly falling a second time. Shouts were getting louder, closer, more menacing. Almost there. A gloved hand reached past her and shoved the gate closed, blocking her exit. Someone had a death grip on the back of her lacy vest. She twisted and shed the garment. Her attacker flung it aside and grabbed her arm. She ducked and wrenched, pulled and flailed. It was no use. Finally, she filled her lungs and screamed, high, loud, and repeatedly. "Help!" Officer Reed Branson's canine partner, Jessie, stopped plodding along with her nose to the boardwalk, lifted her broad head, and looked back. "What is it, girl?" Reed also listened. Whatever his canine was hearing was too faint for human ears. Nevertheless, he trusted his partner and reversed their direction. They could try to pick up Snapper's trail later, assuming the latest supposed sighting of the missing police dog was a valid lead. So far, none of the other tips had turned up the valuable and beloved German Shepherd. Jessie picked up speed, ears flopping, hips swaying beneath rolls of extra hide meant to protect her in battle. He strained to hear despite the rushing wind and the dogs panting. His demeanor as he passed small groups of teenagers this time was different enough to scatter them.